Hey folks, welcome back to Hanbleceya Ranch. My name is Jason, and along with my wife Jen, we left Chicago in the summer of 21. We came out here to the beautiful state of Maine, where we've been carving out our own off-grid homestead. Before we get started in today's video, I wanted to take a second and just thank all of our existing subscribers and also thank all of the new subscribers that have joined our channel in the last couple of weeks. The last few weeks for our channel and for Jen and I have been nothing short of amazing. We've seen quite a bit of growth, and it is very humbling for us that you folks want to tune in and watch Jen and I go through this journey. And so again, from the bottom of our hearts, on behalf of Jennifer and I, thank you. So we have had quite a few folks reach out to us about our solar. Now that they know that we are off-grid, there has been a lot of questions about that. This video is going to be me going over all of the different components that we purchased for our solar system, and then also breaking down the cost of it. Now, we did buy the majority of our system from 3 specific companies, one of them being Alti, Northern Arizona Sun, and also Weebo Solar. So having said that, I have to fill up our woodshed over by the cabin. So we're going to kind of talk through all of the components and what we paid for them while I'm filling up Dory with firewood, because we do have to get our shed next to the cabin filled up. The older I get, I find that my memory doesn't serve me very well sometimes. So I brought my little black book today to help me kind of go over all of the prices with you folks. So generally speaking, in most solar systems, there are going to be 5 main components. So you have your panels, which are what produces the power from the sun. You have your charge controller, which is going to take that power and charge up your batteries. You have an inverter, which is going to change the DC voltage of your batteries into AC that you can plug your normal house appliances in. You also have your batteries, and then you have everything else. So this is where I'm going to pull out my little cheat sheet here, my little black book, because I had to go in and write everything down, because there's no way I can remember all of this. All right, so the first group of parts that we're going to talk about, we purchased all of these components from Alti. Now, we could have purchased these from any store or any online store, I suppose. We chose Alti because when I called them and I spoke to the sales guy, we had a really good conversation. He seemed very down to earth, and honestly, he didn't seem like he was trying to sell me anything. That's kind of what I was hoping for. Whenever I'm talking to somebody about sales, I don't want to be sold. If I'm reaching out to you, I'm already sold and I just want information, and that's kind of what he did. So for the panels, we purchased 6 Q-Cell 430 watt mono panels for a total price of $1,429. In addition, we had to purchase a combiner box, and that combiner box was $119. Our charge controller, which is a Midnite Classic 150, that came out to $645. Our Conext Inverter charger, which is an SW4024, we paid $1,295. For the panel, which is the box next to the inverter, which kind of houses all of the connections between the charge controller, the battery, and the inverter, we paid $432 for that. And for the small control panel on front of that E-panel, we paid $225. Now, in addition to that, we purchased all of the other components we needed, such as the MC4 connectors, the breakers, which included 20 amp, 60 amp, and 100 amp. We also purchased a couple of the surge protectors, which are the little blue lights underneath the inverter. And then we also purchased the battery to inverter cables and all of the miscellaneous hardware that went along with that. Now that was a combined $928 for all of the miscellaneous stuff. Now it's important to note that the size system we have is it's considered as a 2.58 kilowatt system. And what that means is with those 6 panels, we are able on paper to produce 2.58 kilowatts. Obviously, the bigger the system, the more expensive, simply because you need more materials. The smaller the system, less expensive because you won't need as many. So we've been very transparent on our solar usage. And as a matter of fact, there are a few videos out that we've done that we talk about what we use or what our loads are in our cabin for power. If you're interested in that, I'll leave a link to some of those videos in the description below. All right, so far we've talked about the front end of our solar system, the panel, charge controllers, inverter, combiner box, all the miscellaneous components. The next big item in the system are the batteries. Now we have 12 6-volt, 445 amp hour Rolls Surrette batteries. We chose these batteries because they made sense for the system and for the environment that we're in. We're very happy with them. I would buy them again, and come time to replace these batteries, we will certainly be doing that as well. They are just a great quality battery. But like every flooded lead acid battery, they have to be maintained. All right, so what did we end up spending on our batteries? Well, we actually bought them twice. And what I mean by that is we originally purchased 8 batteries. I built a small, like a small chest for them outside of the back door of the cabin. But later then I added 4 more batteries to increase our capacity. So the first set of batteries we ordered were from Northern Arizona Wind and Sun. We paid $350 each for a total of $2,803. When you add the $800 it costs to ship them, the grand total for those first 8 batteries was $3,580. 6 months later, we wanted to add again 4 batteries, so we went to Webo Solar. At the time, Northern Arizona Wind and Sun was just simply out, and so we did find them at Webo Solar. We did pay a little more for them. We paid $365 each for a total of $1,460. And when we added the $415 for shipping, the grand total for that order was $1,875. Okay, so we've gone over the Alti purchases. We've gone over the Northern Arizona Wind and Sun purchases and the Webo Solar. Now, there are a few other things that we need to cover that we did pay for to get the system to where it is today. So nuts and bolts and wires, kind of miscellaneous stuff for the batteries, that ran us about $300. Now, unfortunately, I don't know if that number or how accurate that is. I'm just kind of guessing there because in a lot of the wires we brought with us from Illinois, there's no way for me to know what I paid for them, 5 years ago when I purchased them. The other things that I wanted to kind of quickly talk about. So the solar panel rack that our panels are currently on, that is something I built our first year here. And fortunately for us, we had a neighbor who does have a mill. He's really where we get all of our lumber from. And so the lumber cost and the nuts and bolts, which I had brought with me, were roughly about $100. So the rack that we built cost about $100 for me to build it. Now the GPS, which is the shed, it's an 8x12 shed that we built specifically for the batteries and the solar system. We've got about $1,000 of build material into that building. And so that would include all the lumber, sheeting, insulation, siding, roof, all of that type of stuff. Now I did build that as well, so we didn't have any labor cost in that. Okay, so what did it all cost? The big breakdown, the overall cost for our system. So without the panel rack and without the GPS building, the total came to $10,828. You add in the GPS, the building, the shed, and the rack, it comes out to about $11,928. Now, I think it's important to note that when we purchased these components, it was 2021. In a lot of cases today, the components that we purchased, number one, are not available, or number two, if they are, they're probably more expensive. So it's really a hard, using what we paid on the system is probably pretty difficult in comparing your own pricing, simply because the prices are different, or you have to get other equipment because the stuff that we bought just doesn't exist. And ironically, we do want to add panels to our system, and when I start looking for the Q-Cell 430 watt panels, they're not available. And so when we do decide to pull the trigger on that, when the time is right, we will probably have to get a different type of panel, and then just add a charge controller to that as well. But don't worry, rest assured that when we do that, you folks will be the first to know, because obviously we'll be doing a video on it. All right, well, I've got to get back to loading wood. Got to get our shed filled up with wood. Even though the temperatures are rising and the sun is out, it's still cold, and it gets cold at night. So thanks a lot for sticking around and watching this video. If you liked it, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you folks on the next video. Oh, and remember, if you have any questions or any comments about this video, please drop them below in the comments section. Jen and I make a concerted effort to answer all of the comments, or at least as many as we can. Thanks to you guys, we're growing, and we appreciate it. All right, now back to loading wood.